Eh, Wayna. Meet Karabo, a sharp matriculant from Polokwane, dreaming big about becoming a farmer one day. But right now, she's in deep trouble. The final exams are just 10 days away, and this production factor's topic in agricultural sciences, it's got her spinning like a tractor wheel in mud. Land, labor, capital, management. How do they all fit together? Karabo's heart is pounding. She needs help fast. Karabo slams her book shut, grabs her backpack, and rushes out the door. It is 2 p.m., and Karabo is running through the township streets, dodging kids playing soccer and vendors selling amagwinya. She arrives at the school gate, out of breath. The camera pans to the staff room window, where we hear muffled laughter and excited voices.
I have to find Mrs. Thando. She's the only one who can save me from failing this.
Inside the staff room, Mrs. Thando, a kind but no-nonsense agricultural sciences teacher in her 40s, wearing a colorful doke and a smart blouse, is chatting animatedly with Mr. Jacob, the stern principal with a mustache and a tie that's always a bit crooked. They're sipping tea, newspapers scattered on the table. The vibe is like a juicy gossip session in a soapy, dramatic pauses and exaggerated expressions.
Eesh. Mr. Jacob, can you believe it? South Africa hosting the G20 summit this year. All those world leaders coming to Joburg. But wait, there will be drama. President Donald Trump from America is throwing a tantrum. He says he won't attend because of some trade beef with our policies on agriculture exports, or maybe he started with those stories about the killing of white people in South Africa. Highball. Imagine the whole world watching, and he's like, nah, I'm staying home with my burgers. What if it messes up our farmers' deals? Our maize and sugarcane exports could take a hit.
Yo, Mary, it's pure soapy material. Trump tweeting fire, our President Ramaphosa trying to play peacemaker. But seriously, for education's sake, this is gold for teaching real-world stuff. Our kids need to know how global politics affects local production, like how labor shortages from international tensions could cripple our farms. If Trump skips, investors might pull out, and boom, no capital for new tractors.
True. And the management headaches? Principals like you would be stressing over school budgets if aid gets cut. But eesh, imagine the memes. Trump versus the Bray Masters.
Suddenly, the door bursts open. Karabo rushes in, eyes wide with panic. Her notes clutch like a lifeline. The laughter stops abruptly. Mrs. Thando and Mr. Jacob exchange a quick glance, straightening up like they've been caught in a plot twist.
Mrs. Thando. Mr. Jacob. Please, I need help. This production factors chapter is killing me. The exam is in 10 days, and I don't get it at all. Labor, land, it's all jumbled.
Karabo, my girl, calm down. Come sit. We were just, discussing current events. But you're more important right now. Tell us what's confusing you.
Yes, let's tackle this. Production factors are the building blocks of any farm or business. Think of them as the ingredients in your grandma's pap recipe. Without one, the whole thing falls apart.
Exactly. Let's start with labor, since that's often the trickiest. Labor is the human effort, the people who do the work. On a farm, it's the workers planting seeds, harvesting crops, or even driving tractors. Without skilled labor, nothing gets done. Remember that G20 chat we were having? Global events like that can affect labor availability. If trade deals go south, farms might lose workers to migration or strikes.
Good question. Labor works hand in hand with land, the natural resources like soil and water, capital, tools and money, and management, the brains planning it all.
Wait, like how? And how does it tie into the other factors?
For example, Trump's drama led to tariffs. Our farmers now need more local labor to boost production. But But if wages are low, workers protest, then boom, production halts.
Karabo, do you know Agrishens's Matriculant's YouTube channel?
No.
Mr. Principal, Karabo is panicking, and I think it's better to help her now by unpacking the topic of production factors step by step.
All right, let's watch the Agrishens's Matriculant's Grade 12 Agricultural Sciences videos. Mrs. Thando and I will elaborate further on the points that George doesn't explain in detail.
After watching the videos on YouTube, Karabo should be able to define what labor is, be able to describe the different types of labor, identify and describe the problems associated with labor, the methods for increasing the productivity of labor, be able to identify the labor legislation, known as the Labor Acts, affecting labor in the agricultural sector in South Africa. Also, you should know the standard format and layout, the components involved, of a labor contract on a farm.
What is labor? What is labor? Labor is the mental and physical activities. So this involves the mental and the physical activities. Mental and physical activities of what? Of work that employees do in order to be remunerated. Remunerated. So it is the mental and the physical activities of work that employees do in order to be remunerated. There are different types of labors. Number one, we have the permanent labor. Number two, we have the temporary labor. Number three, seasonal labor. Number four, casual labor. Number one, permanent labor. It's a full-time, full-time, and is employed throughout the year. Number two, temporary labor. They are employed for short term for specific tasks. Again, they perform specific tasks. They are employed for a short term. Number three, seasonal labor. Seasonal labors, they work during peak periods and they perform repetitive tasks. This repetitive task, for example, it's like harvesting or shearing. Shearing, that's when they are cutting the wool from a sheep. Yeah, that's shearing, when they are using that machine for cutting that wool. That's called shearing. Then harvesting, that's when they are that's when they are harvesting crops that they have grown. For example, maize, or maybe apples. Yeah, picking apples from a tree, that is harvesting. So yeah, that's seasonal labor. They work during peak periods and they perform repetitive tasks. Why do we say they are repetitive tasks? Because they happen every year as well. Okay, every year during this time, or every year um, during summer, we will harvest. Okay? We will harvest. Every year, yeah, in December, yeah, we will be harvesting. So they know, okay, 2022, December, we are harvesting. 2023, in December, we are harvesting. So this is a repetitive task. Number four, casual labor. Temporary employment of workers who perform non-repetitive tasks. For example, what are these non-repetitive tasks? For example, fencing. You know, fencing, you can do fencing after 10 years. Yeah, after 10 years. So fencing is not repetitive task. So fencing or building. You can build a house now, then you can build another house after 10 years. So this is a non-repetitive task. Okay, so they can ask you or a work that performs non-repetitive task. This is a casual uh, labor. Okay, they can ask you a labor that performs repetitive tasks. Okay, non-labor, non-repetitive casual labor. Okay, sharp. Labors display certain skills. So we want to classify these labor skills. Okay? So what are these skills that labors display? So A, we have skilled labor, B, we have semi-skilled, then C, we have unskilled labor. What is skilled labor? This is a worker that has formal qualifications and can perform specialized services. For example, a veterinarian, a plumber, a lawyer. Veterinarian, a plumber, and a lawyer. These are skilled labor because they have formal qualifications and they perform what? Specialized services. Because without their formal qualifications, they cannot be a lawyer, they cannot be a registered lawyer, or they cannot be a veterinarian with license or something. I don't know. Yeah. So they have to have these formal qualifications, and with those formal qualifications, they can perform specialized services. So these are skilled labor. B, semi-skilled. This worker is trained, but he has no formal tertiary qualifications. Meaning, maybe he or she did not go to university or a tertiary institution. Yeah. So, for example, machine operator or a driver. I get. So they say this worker is trained. Is trained, but he or she has no formal tertiary qualification. He or she did not go to university or tertiary institution. Yeah. C, unskilled labor. This worker learns through observation, through observing. He or she can see, or oh, okay, they 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 harvest like this. Then okay, then he or she can observe someone doing that job, and she'll learn. Then yeah, she'll do it by herself, or yeah, through observing what people do. Then Liana, then she will learn how they do that job. So this worker learns through observation or experience to perform repetitive tasks, okay, and has no formal training or qualification. He or she did not go to university. Okay, so this can be sharing, like someone who do sharing. That's skilled. That's unskilled labor. Sharing, for example, sharing. We have problems that are associated with labor in agriculture. So, A, we have lack of training, or scarcity of skills. So, this can be caused by um, um, lack of training. Ne? Yeah. So, this can cause production to be less. This can cause production to be less, meaning we cannot produce the amount that we expect to produce because of this lack of training. So people don't have the necessary skills to be able to perform at their so people cannot perform at their highest potential, or they cannot be extremely competitive or extremely productive. So they can cause production to be less, unable to use new technology. Yes, they cannot use new technology because they don't have the necessary skills that the industry needs, because the industry is ever changing. So there is new machines that are coming into the market. So yeah, we want labors that can use those machines or new technology. For example, like smartphones. There are some people who cannot use smartphones. So yeah, lack of training or scarcity of skills, yeah, contribute to that. B, labor shortages. Labor shortages, this can be due to poor working conditions, low wages, or competition from other industries, or long working hours. This contributes to labor shortages. For example, currently, uh, we know people who work from farms, again, they receive low wages compared to people who work from townships. For example, um, people who work from the farm, they receive low wages, but people who work from other industries, from jobs in industries like a town or somewhere, so they receive what? They receive high wages. So, and also at farms, they have poor working conditions. There is no advanced technology or one. Yeah, so yeah, and yeah, there is long working hours, or one. So yeah, and also the competition from other industries. So they compete with these farmers. With yeah, they take their labors. They take them and say, hey, now we can offer you high wages. Then all of those people then they start to move to town. They say, hey, now we are going to find job at town or from other industries. So they leave the farm. They say, hey, at farm they offer us low wages, so there is poor working conditions at farms. So yeah, or there is long working hours. What can an employer do to encourage workers to improve their productivity? What can an employer do to encourage workers to improve their productivity? Number one, improve working conditions. Yeah, the employer can improve the working conditions. Number two, provide incentives. The worker can receive incentives from the employer. Again, the employer can provide incentives. Number three, provide training. The employer can provide training. Labor legislations affecting farm workers in South Africa. A, we have Labor Relations Act. B, we have Basic Conditions of Employment Act. C, we have Compensation for Occupational Injuries and Diseases Act.
Yes,
D, we have
Thando.
Occupational
The
Health
Labor
and
Relations
Safety
Act
Act.
regulates employment
E, we have
relationships by
Skills
granting rights to both
Development
employees
Act.
and employers.
So
It
A,
facilitates
Labor
collective
Relations
bargaining and
Act,
promotes orderly dispute
is
resolution.
about
The Act governs trade union
dismissals
rights,
and
strikes, and
disputes.
lockouts, and it
Okay.
establishes
It's about
institutions
dismissals
such as the
and labor disputes.
CCMA and labor
It
courts to
provides
address
unions
disputes.
for
Furthermore, the Act
employees.
facilitates employee involvement via workplace
Employees
forums and
can
guarantees that dismissals are
give the
conducted
workers
fairly.
Okay,
employees
Karabo.
in the workers.
The Labor Relations Act
So
focuses on
it provides
dismissals
means
and labor
for the
disputes.
employees
It allows employees to
so
create
that
or
they
join
can
unions,
collectively address
which help them
issues faced
collectively
with
address
their
issues they
employers.
face with their
Employers
employers. This act
is
also regulates
the
the right
people
to strike
who
and
hire
establishes the
the
procedures that
workers,
must be followed during such
the
actions.
employers. Employees is the workers. B. Basic Conditions of Employment Act. It controls the working hours, overtime, like payments or wages. Yeah, that's Basic Conditions of Employment Act. Yeah, I think it deals with labor contracts. Yeah, labor contracts mostly. Labor contracts mostly. C. Compensation for occupational injuries and diseases. Actish. The big English words. Yeah, here you just have to know this big English words. No other way. This term you have to just know it. No other way. Compensation for occupational injuries and diseases. Diseases Act. It gives payments for injuries and diseases that affect employees at work or in their workplace. D. Occupational Health and Safety Act. It's about, it's about health and safety in the workplace. E. We have Skills Development Act. Skills Development Act, it improves skills of workers by encouraging training in the workplace. It encourages training in the workplace. Just to make sure that it improves the skills of the workers. Labor contract. Labor contract is a legally binding documented agreement that shows the terms and the conditions of employment between who? Between the employer and the employee. So it's a legally binding. This is a legally binding. So it is lawful. Okay? Legally, correct, it is bound by the law. Okay? So it is a legally binding documented agreement that shows the terms and the conditions of employment between the employer and the employee. The terms and the conditions of employment, uh, that's when they show, okay, uh, the employer is going to work uh, as a as a lawyer. No, as a lawyer. No, is going to work as a what? As a driver. Yeah, as a driver is going to drive tractor, see what. So those are the conditions. The driver will do this, this. The driver will work uh, five days. Yeah, 5 days per week. Yeah, 5 days per week. Blah 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 blah. So yeah, those are the terms and the conditions of employment. Yeah, it is regulated by the Basic Conditions of Employment Act. This is one of the act that we were talking about. Again, this is one of the legislation that we were talking about. Basic Conditions of Employment Act. So this labor contract is a legally binding documented agreement that shows the terms and the conditions of employment between the employer and the employee. It is regulated by what? Basic Conditions of Employment Act. So a contract has the following layout, or the contract has the following components. What are those components? There has to be the details of the employer and the employee. There has to be wages. There has to be hours of work. So yeah, it has to have these things.
Mr. Jacob turns off the phone after watching videos on labor as a production factor from Agricen's matriculants.
Karabo, do you understand production factors now?
Now I see the light, but I still need to study to memorize what George discussed.
Karabo, you can still use your class workbook for revision, trial exam papers, your answer sheet, and the November past papers and trial past exam papers to study, ensuring you know how to answer questions.
Okay, thank you teachers. Bye-bye.